This podcast is brought to you by ONNIT. Go to ONNIT.com and look at the great selection of supplements. If you find something you like, press in code Joey and get 10% off delivered right to your house. What's happening, you bad motherfuckers? It's Thursday, the 13th of the month. The joint is brought to you by DraftKings. We got a great game tonight. We got Chicago versus Washington. It's tremendous. It's the Amazon, whatever it is, prime fucking football game on Thursday nights. Everyone can boost their winnings with DraftKings stepped up same game parlays. The NFL action is in full swing, cocksuckers, and DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the NFL. We're taking touchdowns, big plays, we're biting motherfuckers. New customers can bet $5 on any NFL team to win and get 200 in free bets if they do. Everyone can boost their winnings with DraftKings stepped up same game parlays. Like I said, tonight we got Chicago against Washington. I may go with a total tonight, but if I do go with a parlay, I like Chicago tonight. How's that one for you cocksuckers? To make things even sweeter, you could throw down a stepped up same game parlays. The more legs you add, the more money you win. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app now. Use promo code Joey to get 200 in free bets if your team wins. Just place $5 to bet on any football team. That's code Joey, only at DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the NFL. We got college football, we got baseball playoffs, and we got preseason NBA and fucking hockey. And you're still sitting there scratching your head. And fucking fantasy is at an all-time fucking high. Download the DraftKings Fantasy app. Enter code Joey and let's make some motherfucking money. Remember, minimum age and eligibility restrictions apply. See show notes for details. Download the fantasy app, download the sportsbook app, and let's get this party started. The joint is also brought to you by Bluechew. There's nothing more scarier than not being able to perform. Bluechew is here to make sure your dick is all treat and no tricks. Bluechew is an online service that delivers the same active ingredients as Cialis and Viagra, but in chewable tablets, all at a fraction of the cost. Take them anytime and be ready whenever the opportunity arises, whenever you bump into a pigeon. Let me tell you something, you can take these on an empty stomach, they're tremendous. And the process is simple. Sign up at bluechew.com, consult one of their licensed medical providers, and once you're approved, voila, you'll receive your prescription within days. The best part, it's all done online. Nobody knows nothing. No doctor's office, no pharmacy. Fuck them all. Bluechew tablets are made in the USA, and shipped in a discreet package. The mailman won't know nothing. Your grandmother won't know. It's a perfect combination. You can benefit from extra confidence when it's time to get down, and Bluechew can help. Try Bluechew free. Joey, what are you talking about? I'm talking about free. Try this. Take the deal. Use promo code Joey and just pay $5 for shipping. This will change your fucking life. Plus, they'll call you Captain Hard-On. Bluechew with code Joey for your first month. Visit bluechew.com for more important safety information. Thanks, Bluechew, for sponsoring the joint. Let's get this party started. My girl Tara's here today.
Check 1, 2. Welcome to Uncle Joey's Joint.
What's happening, you bad motherfuckers? Uncle Joey here on a Thursday morning with my girl Tara. Looking good. What's happening?
Thank you.
What's happening?
What's happening?
You know me, dog.
I know you.
What's your last name? How do I say it?
Oh, Cannistraci.
Okay. We'll just leave it.
Tara jokes.
We'll just leave it Tara T. That's it. Is it C or?
C.
C. What's going on?
Nothing.
Thank you. Welcome you to the
Thank
joint.
you for having me. You have a beautiful home.
Thank you.
Beautiful
We're trying.
wife.
Thank you.
He's all right.
He's good looking dude, Mike. I'm happy you made it down here.
Thank you.
No, fucking please. When Dino told me you want to come on, I was like, anytime. She's family, you know.
Oh, thank you.
What's going on in your world?
What's going on? I'm recording an album on Saturday.
You excited?
I am.
Is this
I'm
your
excited.
first album?
I did a compilation one before this, and now
What's a
I'm doing
compilation album in comedy?
So it was a few other comics.
Okay.
And we did one, and that one went well.
Okay.
And I said, "I'm time for my hour."
How do you feel about your album?
I feel good. I feel like I want to get it done and put it to bed.
And this is audio or audio visual?
It's gonna be audio and visual, but
And you're taping it at Uncle Vinny's.
no other place to do it.
That's such a fucking great place, and I love Dino to death.
Oh my God, to death.
It's my Jersey home, you know. But they had some problems this week. Well, not problems. They just had a situation where some fucking, some white trash dude fucking
Chuck the beer can.
chucked a beer can at some people. And I mean, I saw your picture and I retweeted it yesterday.
Mm-hmm.
But the first thing I thought about, I was going to put bring helmets or
Oh
something
yeah,
to your thing.
catcher's mitt, right? The catcher face mask.
But you're trying to do a special.
Yeah.
You don't want to. But
be a
it's
prop
always
comic,
something that's been in the back of your mind. Like for 20 years, I always thought about what would stop somebody from throwing something at you, attacking you on stage, and all of a sudden,
We
in
watched it.
2022, it's starting. This is real now. That girl, if she would have got hit with that beer can, it would have not been a good fucking night. And
You
I think
heard how hard it was when it hit that wall.
And I think he threw it to miss her on purpose, maybe. I hope he didn't throw the can.
Was drunk. The BYOB there.
Yeah,
Yeah.
no, he was drunk.
Mm-hmm.
He was fucking drunk. The dude was, and there's a couple ways you could attack this, but there's no other ways. There's no reason why you should be throwing
Anywhere.
anything.
Anything. And throwing anything anywhere.
And I've always said it. I've said that, listen, I did not know this. I did not know that they just implemented a fine on cruise ships. It's a $500 fine if you act the wrong way. They helicopter you off, and you got to pay all that shit out of your own fucking pocket.
Could you imagine?
They helicopter people off all the time. They helicopter comics off. If you go on one of those fucking Bahamas
Oh yeah.
or one of those places and you're not supposed to fucking curse, and you curse, and they tell you, like it's in the contract.
Oh, if you don't have a clean set.
No, and you go up to there's a lot of guys, i.e. like me, that would do that. Like you got to work clean. I'll work clean.
They're gonna work. I don't think anybody thinks you're working clean.
No, but back then, when
Maybe in the back.
when you had 30 minutes
Yeah,
and you
yeah.
were trying to feature, they'll ask you, you're going to work clean? And you're like,
I see, that's for
yeah,
everything.
I'll work clean. You're not going to work clean. You go up there, you fuck around, you say shit, they stop the show. They go to your room and clean it out for you. You're not even allowed to go back to your room, and they helicopter you the fuck out of there.
And then you have that piddle.
And you can't. If you're a comic, you can't sleep with any of the cruise guests. Like you can get kicked off. They have like real strict rules.
Real rules.
If you're on one of those cruise
It's
ships, like you're
corporate.
not on vacation.
No.
You're an employee. No.
No, and if you're a comic, you could drink, but you can't have a certain amount of alcohol in your system. Like I have a dear friend that does cruise ships. There was a fight. He was there. He tried to break him up. When the ship police came, they fucking breathalyzed everybody. They fired him. He had nothing to do with the fight. Welcome to corporate comedy in America.
Yeah.
That's what you want to
Sounds
fucking
a
do.
lot nicer when you're like, I'm cruising around telling jokes. Sounds a lot nicer.
I've never really considered a cruise ship or
Me
anything.
neither.
Like I've never considered it. Not because I'm a pompous asshole or anything like that. Because that's not, to me, that's not what stand-up was intended for.
Maybe music.
I don't know. And even then, music on a ship, when the ship is going down. Like, remember in the Titanic?
yeah.
They're playing the violin as the ship was going down. Keep playing, cocksucker. Listen, I'm swimming. I'm not fucking playing. So, and I can't imagine how it feels for a woman. See, that happened to a woman the other day.
Oh, the can.
And that's where my fucking shit stops, like right there. Like I could see a guy saying something with you, a guy, but a girl, you
And-
threw a bottle at a non-assuming, white, sweet girl.
She handled it like a boss.
No, listen, she ate a
when
boss.
I heard she drank it, like
Yeah.
I wish I'm the Italian paranoid, hypochondriac in me would be scared to touch a germ, but like the way she said she had like one split second and she was like, you got to drink this. And
She's
she
gonna go
did
on
it.
Kimball now.
I think so. He retweeted.
Good for her.
Yeah.
God fucking bless her. What made you, as pretty as you are, get into this fucking terrible fucking career?
Did you get
into it to
everybody
open
thinks
up
it's
other
glorious.
doors, or did you get into it because you enjoyed stand-up?
It was stand-up for me. And it was stand-up for me probably from really early on, before I even knew. Like we were talking earlier in your living room, like I was always drawn to comedy. Like my aunt would say as little as 2 years old, I'd be watching Johnny Carson and the Honeymooners and the Carol Burnett Show and I Love Lucy. Like not stand-up necessarily, but comedy. I always loved comedy. Saturday Night Live. Like as a kid, that's what I was watching. It wasn't so much cartoons. I was watching these characters on TV. And then I always wanted to do it, but you think you can't, or you rationalize like, I can't make a living. I have to do this, or I have to pay bills, or I have to. So I held off doing it for quite a while, and then the show The Last Comic Standing came out, and I was psyched the first season. Oh my God, I watched every episode. I loved watching people do their thing. I loved it. Oh my God, I loved it. And then I couldn't wait for the next season. And then by the time that next season came out, I said I couldn't watch it anymore. It was bothering me. It was like making me upset. And that's not me. Like I champion everyone. You want to make boxes and sell them on the corner, and you want to bedazzle a cane and sell it. My friends want to have babies and get married. I celebrate it. To watch people do their thing and it bothered me. I knew that it was because I was suppressing doing it. And I was like, okay, this isn't me. So now what am I going to do? Because now I'm not even enjoying it. I'm not enjoying watching other people do it. So I put my big girl pants on, and I went and I started.
What was the first place you performed?
The Producers Club. I was in like an off-Broadway sketch comedy play, and the producer said, you want to do it? Go out every night and warm up the crowd. Write your 5 minutes and go warm up. And like the first few nights, they'd be like pushing me on stage, and I'd be like, no, this was a mistake. And then by the end of the run of the show, I was like, is it my time? Am I going up? When are we starting? I want to. You get that, get those first few laughs, and you're like, this is it. Whatever this is it. Like the other day, somebody goes, well, what's the end game? I go, the end game's always going to be being on that stage. What you get from it, obviously, it's a platform for other things. But for me, it's always going to be stand-up, because that's what I really feel like. That's what I wanted.
You said something that really opened up something for me. We were talking about Eleanor on Monday, and people who were around comedy. I think when you're a kid and you're around it, like I was a fan of Carol Burnett, The Tonight Show.
Me too.
Fucking hee-haw. I was a big hee-haw guy. That shit made me laugh as a kid. Comedy. But, I wonder where all this like, I loved the fucking English porno guy. Benny Hill, that a tit would fall out and shit. I love Benny Hill. He always did creepy things. Like, I love, but it's so weird. I don't know. You watch all this TV, like, I wonder the people who came from the Saturday Night Live era. Right. I wonder what comics came out from the Saturday Night Live era, and just different things that we watch to build your sense of humor as you're growing up, and you don't even know it.
Right. I knew what I liked, what I didn't. I knew what comics. I knew what I was drawn to. Like, I don't even do the comedy of Carol Burnett. Her physicality, though, all those things about her, I was like, this. I didn't know what it was. I was 4 or 5 watching, I knew my grandmother was laughing and she never laughed. So I knew something was, I wanted to do whatever they were doing. I just didn't know.
One of the biggest surprises I got when I come back to New Jersey 2 years ago was I came back knowing that the Honeymooners were on. As stupid as that is. I came here thinking that the Honeymooners were on at 11 o'clock every night still. Boy, was I a surprise. I get Seinfeld bumped them. It's like Seinfeld and creepy fucking shows on Channel 11. But then I realized they would come on midnight. And the first time I watched it with my daughter, I remember we watched it downstairs. I go, Merce, let's watch the Honeymooners. It was the one about the mambo, when he learns how to do the mambo and shit. And I got to tell you guys a revealing thing I've never told nobody. It's not theft. It's not theft, because I struggled with this. That episode, I was watching, I'm like, I think I stole a lot of Jackie Gleason's body.
Like his
and Norton too. Like Norton is a fucking champion comic, like champion. The timing they both had, but when I watch that Honeymooners and I'm in the, with my daughter and I'm crying and I'm laughing at the same, every time a Honeymooners episode comes on, I cry. At some point, when I laugh, I cry because I cannot believe that this still makes me laugh.
Yeah.
By the time I was in the fucking 5th grade, I was 10. Now I'm 59. I'm still fucking laughing at the same stupid jokes.
I know.
And somewhere in that laughter, I cried because last time I used to watch these, my mother was alive. There was so many things.
The nostalgia.
But throughout all that, I did see a lot of the shit I did on stage in Jackie Gleason, and I'm not saying I stole it from him.
Right.
Okay, and it wasn't. It's
It was
what?
your influence.
It's an influence.
You're influenced.
It's somebody watching somebody over and over, and
When you said it, I wondered like if the guy who when you watch Seinfeld, you watch Kramer. Like Art Carney was the first of that come out. Like he came out of the gate, and before you laughed. And when you watch the shows, people are laughing before he speaks his first word because he's walking in, he's looking at a wall, he's doing this, he's turning. His physicality, you already know he's funny. He's funny before he says a line.
And then the second wave of comedy came in my life, and that was Sanford and Son, and Chico and the Man, and I was never a big Saturday Night Live guy. It just did not work for me. I would go home and go, "What is all the fucking yelling and screaming about? This is not this good to me."
Right.
I just didn't. So I always went, when I watched that, it let me know maybe I didn't like clean comedy. I like dirty comedy. So I started listening more to Pryor. So in my world, it's like Pryor. Gleason, it's, and you see that years later. Not that when we start doing comedy, we emulate someone.
Oh,
For you
100%.
people who are at home, who did you emulate? Who did you think?
I used to go see, I can never say I've emulated him, but I used to study because I took it like I had to learn. I took it like this is the education. I was going to comedy clubs to learn. For me, I tracked Colin Quinn and mind you, I don't do that comedy. I like to think I'm of above average intelligence, but Colin Quinn's on another level of brilliance. But he was New York, which I can't hide my accent. He's New York, and he's smart, and his mannerisms and the way he can. I used to go watch him. You're gonna learn, even if it's not what you're doing. And I would go wherever he was, to watch him and do things. So that for me, I think, was my biggest. And when I first came out, Amy Schumer was when she first hit the mark, where you saw a really strong, female New York female presence on the scene. Even if again that wasn't what I wanted to do, or that was my voice, it was still something to learn.
I worked at a comedy club. I worked at a D room. It was called Wits End, Aurora, Colorado. No.
Before stand-up? Before you did stand-up?
Yeah. No, I got the job. I took a stand-up course. 3 weeks, $33. Jeff Harms, great, University of Colorado. In the last class, he pulled me aside, and he goes, "I think if you want to do this, I could see you doing it." I go, "I'm not ready to get on stage." And he goes, "Okay." He goes, "I want you around it." He goes, "I want you to call this guy and go down there." And that's what I did. That next day I went there, applied, and 2 days later they called, and I worked there from January of 91 till I got the balls to get on stage in July of 91.
So 6 months.
6 months, and I got promoted like 3 times in those 6 months. By the time I got on stage, I was already a bar back. I was the sound guy, and I was the door guy. I was security. Fucking craziness. Right. I had to do all those jobs. But when I was bar bapping, I would watch the comics. That's it. Just watch. I think one of the best jobs in America today, if you really want to do stand-up, is just move to LA and go to the Comedy Store and tell them you want to be a doorman. Whether you're white, black, green, a woman, whatever the fuck you are.
They're famous for having stuff. Like the door people would get spots. Like they're known for that.
Benefit.
Yeah, that's
But it's not the spot.
Right.
It's the being around it. You're at a University of Comedy. You're at fucking Princeton
Right.
University to learn comedy. It's always great when people get there and they complain. I never complained. I said one thing one time when I got there. I said, "I wish my spots were a little earlier. I keep getting these 1 o'clock spots." And some kid said, "If you don't want it,
I'll take it.
Put the sign up on the wall that you don't want your 1 o'clock spot. See how many people will take it." And that made a lot of sense to me. I never complained. I never complained about people bumping me. I never did shit. It was a university, and I knew that. I knew I was here for 4 years. Shut the fuck up. I didn't think I would last for 4 years. I figured I'd get into a fist fight or something before that, and I'd get thrown out. No, I lasted there for 23 years. Mm-hmm. Yeah, and it's so crazy. Like I actually went in there I was long. Listen, I worked the door at the store. A lot of people don't know. Towards the end, in the middle, I remember going to her and going, "Dog, I can't live on the $25 hosting job." And she goes, "Well, why don't you work the door? That's another $25." I'm like, "Wow,
doubled my income."
Okay, I'll double
50% raise.
So I would work the door until I hosted. She gave me a special spot. She goes, "I won't tell nobody. You don't tell nobody." All right, I would host. Then I would go back to working the door. But by that point, I'd get somebody and go, "Hey, come here. What are you doing right now?" "Nothing." "You want to host the rest of the show?" "Yeah." "You're the host," and get security. So I would bring up Andrew, Paul Mooney, and somebody else and myself, and I'd go home. And she paid me. She never fucking said nothing to me. But I paid my dues. I was there every fucking week, you know, like.
And that's the grind, and that's what people have to realize, especially new comics. There is a grind to this. There is a paying my dues. You're not entitled to anything. Even now, like, maybe I'll never go to a comedy show, but when I get to work with really big names I'm sitting my ass in the seat if I've opened for them and watching, because that's going to be part.
Yeah, that's part of the education.
You're a lifelong learner in this. I don't think I'm never ahead of where I'm supposed to be. So if I'm going to be opening for Joey or opening for a Rich Voss or a Bobby Kelly, I'm watching the show after that.
Have you seen Bobby's new special?
Yes.
I just saw bits of it. I was fucking dying of laughter.
Yeah.
That's a 30-year seasoned fucking comic.
Yeah.
People don't mention Bobby Kelly, how dangerous that motherfucker is. I saw a special that was like half-wit recorded on a phone from Comedy Central. And they did it at the Comedy Cellar. Like 4 years ago. I'm in the hotel room one night, like 2 in the morning, and a special comes on. He was a lot bigger then, and he was goofing on fat people and shit. I was fucking rolling.
Yeah.
That's a guy that should be a lot bigger.
Yes.
Than what he is. I'm happy
Not
you
physically,
mentioned his name.
just.
No, he lost some weight.
No, I know he did. He just
great.
talked about it. Yeah.
I just saw him yelling. He's one of those guys that's been around. He'll fucking murder you.
I get excited. Like, I get excited, not even for me. I get excited to see what the crowd is going to get. Like, because him and I do a show called Smokes and Jokes. He's a big cigar smoker. So we've been doing cigar night comedy shows together. And I get so excited once I'm off, because he's going to do 20 minutes of not material. He's going to talk about the ceiling, the lamp, make fun of the person in the audience. And it's just... It's so like off the cuff, and I get excited to watch the audience and organic. I'm excited, and I'm learning. Oh, look at all the observations he just made that I maybe didn't. Or
it's always great to go see a big time comic. Whatever. I'll tell you who one of my favorite guys to watch, and you guys are gonna fucking laugh at me. I hate corny shit, but he was so corny he'd kill me. The guy with the puppets. That motherfucker.
Jose, that guy?
No, the guy with the specials on.
The white dude.
Jeff Dunham.
Jeff Dunham.
Oh, Jeff
is
Dunham.
a dangerous motherfucker on stage. And I don't know how many times, I never had a beef with him. When I'd see him, he'd give me a hug no matter what. I'd always fucking, that was great. And I think he would look at me and go, "I don't believe you that you like my puppet act." And I'm like, bro, it's fucking great. There's some people, the dude from New York, rest his soul, that was a puppet act, whatever the guy's name was, that was crazy. He used to live down here before he passed away. God rest his soul. The guy that used to take booking calls at a phone booth, the ventriloquist, had a big cock. The dummy had a big cock.
The dummy had the big cock?
The dummy had a cock, and he shaved the piece off so you could put lines of coke in it and snort a line off.
Oh my God, how do I not know?
Come on, man.
We need somebody on the community.
Come on, guy. You don't remember his fucking name? Otto and George.
Oh, that's
Otto and fucking George. When I first got into comedy, when I first started rocking and rolling, like maybe 2000, rocking and rolling, when you're like a good feature act.
Right.
When I was a feature act, like in 2007, I saw him for the first time. Maybe even before that. I saw him, and it was real. He was intense. And he's up there cursing, eating pussy, talking about snorting coke. I mean, this guy was nuts. Word on the street was that he didn't even have a phone. When you had to book him, he gave you a payphone, and you had to call that payphone on a Tuesday behind this house.
That's amazing.
That's crazy. Otto
Yeah,
and
that's-
George was the real fucking deal. But anyway, not like Jeff Dunham. Because there was a lot of times I would do the late show behind Jeff. Jeff doesn't do 2 shows. So I'd go to Irvine or Brea, and it would be
catch
Jeff.
the act.
And the only thing I ever heard negative about Jeff was I'd get there and the manager would go, listen, you know Jeff loves you, but he made us cut your video. Because the video that you're coming, because it was always dirty in front of his audience. So he would make them cut that video. You know, like when you go to a comedy show, they tell you who's coming up. They always have like a little sketch, like 30 minutes of video. Like, I don't have this in the movie theater.
Right,
now
right.
I need this here. Shh, popcorn is tasty, all that dumb shit. But, no, I liked him a lot. And I learned from him, even from a puppet act. I fucking would sit there and look at their timing.
I was
His
gonna
timing,
say,
the puppet's timing. And you're like, fuck, God.
And there's got to be
That's all
writing
him.
behind it, right? If
Yeah. No, he's a real, that motherfucker was making millions.
Duncan with Little Hobo.
Duncan was okay with, he only brought Little Hobo out at the end. And it was the creepiest fucking thing in the world, that little guy.
I'm not into
I couldn't
puppets.
sleep at the hotel knowing that he was next door to me with that
With the
fucking
puppet?
with the puppet. The scariest goddamn thing in the world. But it's so weird how you have, like, I can't watch specials.
Well,
I can't watch specials.
because
I
of the
can watch-
time, how long they are, or
Well, the time, but it was so surreal to me going down to the Vinny's one night. And it was the week that Natalie Cuomo was there with somebody's daughter. I can't remember. Sheba.
Okay.
Sheba has a room in mid.
Yes.
Okay.
In the city.
Now, they're not Amy Schumer. They're not Whitney Cummings. But they're getting there. They'll be there someday. Them two were the first time I go, fuck, I forgot how much I enjoyed watching live comedy. I forgot how much I enjoyed watching live comedy. Because I had a whole system that was tremendous. Listen, I would get stoned as fuck, put a hooded sweatshirt on, with sunglasses. You ever see me with sunglasses on? Never. You?
No.
Never. I'd put sunglasses on, and I'd walk in the back of the comedy store, and I'd just sit there and watch the whole rotation from 9 o'clock up. If a comic got boring, I'd walk out, but I'd make sure I was there for the next one, or I'd stay there and watch how he'd get out of the hole. Because watching people get out of a hole
It's
is
another
always
lesson,
an
yeah.
education.
All right, it's another lesson.
But I would sit there. I would do that maybe Tuesday nights, Wednesday night, not now. When I first got there, until I left in 2007, I would sit there once a week high, and I'd get pissed when people come and bother me. Joey, do you know where I could get some weed? Get the fuck away from me, because you just broke everything. You
Right.
just broke that. Like, I would put
Laser
myself in that
focused.
corner chair for a fucking reason. I don't want you to say anything to me. And nobody used to bother you then for pictures and nothing. It was just sitting there and watching 10 comics in a row to see how they would rotate, because they're only, 20, 15-minute sets. So I'd watch 4 or 5 of them, then go for a walk, then come back, and then go for a walk, and then come back. I loved it. I really enjoyed it. When I'm home, I don't get that. When I put a special on, I don't give you Jesus with the Tribe. I'm not gonna get it as much as I did
When it's
when
live.
I went to see that. And I always knew that. This is all the shit that's coming back to me, because during the pandemic we forgot a lot about this shit. But I've always enjoyed just watching straight up fucking comedy. I don't want to be in a nice place. It could be bricks. Like, give me the dirtiest clubs in New York. Those are the ones I'll probably end up going to. I love Dangerfields.
Oh, I loved it back in the day and before it
and
closed.
8 people
Yeah.
every night.
Yeah,
10.
12 if you had a good night.
I packed it out one night. I tweeted I had 21. And they were like, Joey, what did you do? We got 21 people. I'm like, fuck yeah. Yeah, I love Dangerfields.
I love Dangerfields. I did my first show with Chaz at Dangerfields when we did
Really?
his comedy event. When we did a charity event there, it had the old school like a mafia restaurant from the 50s feel still. Like the lamps were still like those little lamps were still at the table. Everything was red, and God knows they never put the lights on because you didn't want to know what it looked like. But it had that real like
You thought
authentic
Rodney was
feel.
there.
Yeah.
When you watch the specials that they shot from there, and you walk in there, you get it. You go, wow, I could smell the history in this place.
I know. I love
When I
that.
sat at the bar, it was the first club that it was an honor for me, beside the store, to sit at that thing, at that bar. I did it when I was shooting the Many Saints. I had never done it before. And when I came back to shoot the Many Saints, I go, I got a bunch of options of where I could go do spots. And none of them signed as enticing as Dangerfields. And I would take an Uber up there, 2, 3. I would call Linda Rowe. She'd get me a showcase. I would go up there. I would do 20 minutes, 15 minutes. 8 people.
Yeah.
But a fucking blast. And that's what I would like to go back to. I love those kind of rooms where you don't even have enough people for the chairs. Like there's 30 chairs in the room and there's 18 people.
You just can't announce you're going.
No,
Right.
no, you just have to. You have to go in there.
Yeah.
But boy, that's the best workout you'll ever have because that really gets you talking and it gets you thinking quickly. Yeah. Like this shit, I have at home. I could write 3 jokes, but you know that one joke to seal them all together. I can't do that at home. I have to do that joke on stage. That's when that joke comes completely. That last joke to add the compliment.
Because it's a confirmation.
I cannot. I have to do it on stage while I work. I don't know.
Those small rooms, you have to talk to people. Like they always say that, you get good in comedy when you just sound like you're having a conversation. But when you write the jokes, you're performing an act. When you have just 8 people there, you're not theatrical. You're talking to 8 people. You got to learn how to talk to the people. Like that's where you learn your voice and your conversation and your ad-libbing and you obviously record every set and it's like nails on a chalkboard to listen to yourself, but that's where you learn.
Oh.
I hate it.
I taped my last set in New York City, and I got some good jokes out of it, but I didn't like the whole set from Saturday night. I liked the jokes that I tried. I really enjoyed
stuff.
Yeah, I really enjoyed that stuff.
You played back the whole thing?
I played back the parts I wanted to hear, the material I'd done. I can't listen to the whole thing.
I know.
Can't listen to the whole thing.
It's painful, but I know I still have to do it. It doesn't make a difference when you get to a certain point. Sometimes I'm like, just watch it.
I've been doing a podcast, I don't know how long now. I don't know how many podcasts we've done, and if I've watched 5 of them.
What, this one?
Obviously, this
Any
one.
of them.
Watch more clips than
200 episodes of this. I don't know how many of the church. 100 with Felicia. I never really watched the whole one. Not because the podcast wasn't good, because I couldn't stand listening to myself. Like, it's okay when she's talking, but when it goes back to me, that's not what I want to see. I want to see her talking. So after a while, I'm like, I'm good.
But isn't that crazy? Because you're what everybody wants to see and hear. You're the draw. You're the draw. But yet you yourself, it's something. There's something to that when you think about it.
I always thought I was retarded. I thought there was a problem. I really thought there was a problem. I could tell you guys things I did that I'm not proud of, that I went to a premiere, I would say hello, and then leave. And then try to come back because I didn't want to watch me. Taxi, I left. I just went to that premiere to see Brady's wife.
The important things at a premiere.
I went to see Tom Brady's wife, the Brazilian girl.
Oh, she's single now.
She's single. Mackenzie Dern is single. Jesus Christ. Damn. Yeah, Mackenzie Dern took all the pictures of her boyfriend off the fucking Instagram. People like, dog, Mackenzie Dern is single.
How do we know this? Intel? No.
There was somebody sent me a message. They go, Joey, this is your chance.
Yeah.
Mackenzie is scrapping all her daddy baby pictures off her Instagram. And I'm like, she's single? Jesus Christ. Not that I'm fucking an old man. What do I got to offer? But I thought there was something wrong with me. I never repeated it because I've heard of people. We have a mutual friend. Not a friend. I heard this motherfucker went to a Super Bowl. I know for a fact he went to a Super Bowl one day. There were 50 people at the fucking thing. And during the Super Bowl halftime, he goes, enough with this. Let's put a tape up of my stand-up.
Oh, at his house or something?
Can you imagine me going to your fucking house with your parents and everybody? And this was, the guy wasn't even famous. He's never been famous, but guy was nobody knew who he was. He went to a party for the Super Bowl. The year I got to California, somebody told me like 2 weeks later, they go, stay away from this retard. People were in the room. The guy who invited him was real. He went over there
I know who he's saying. But
And he popped that fucking tape in during the fucking Super Bowl, and somebody yelled, "Take it off." I mean, it's not good.
No, I don't know the story specifically, and once we're off camera, I'm gonna...
Okay, so
I
when I
want
heard...
a prize if
when
I guess it right.
When I heard that story,
Thanks,
you can see
Mike.
how that story stayed with me. Mm-hmm. Because I always thought about what would possess a comic to go to a Super Bowl party and throw his VHS tape in at halftime and force people to watch it. If I had the best set of my life, I still couldn't take that tape and make you put it on at the Super Bowl.
You wouldn't even put it on YouTube.
No, I wouldn't put it anywhere.
But that's a character trait, and we see them in this industry, right? That's not just that. That's somebody that openly asks for things that they're not entitled to. That's like, there's a whole element here. Like, even me wanting to do this podcast, I didn't ask directly. You know, maybe somebody said something to Joey, or I have always, I wouldn't have the balls. Like, I couldn't do that. I don't know if it's like the way we are, like that New York, I think he's an Italian, but he's not, that New York, New Jersey Italian. Like, no, you don't, like, you do hard work, you know, you do good, and then things come to you. Like, that's a different level of ego. That's entitlement. And that we see it with comics, or people who want to be comics, but like, I've asked one person for help the whole time, like, and it was like pandemic, and I just was in like a rut, and it was Rich Voss. He's the only person I ever reached out to and said, I worded it in a way that was like almost like I wasn't worthy of the, and he's like, "What are you talking about? Of course you're gonna deliver. I'm gonna recommend you somewhere, and you're gonna do good. You're gonna do great." And then, but I was like, I've never asked before, and so when I hear these things, or these people asking for these opportunities, you go, I'm never going to make it in this industry, because I'm never going to have that. I'm going to take the longest road possible to get there, because I'm never going to come from that. You don't come from that.
No, but there's two sides to that, and I got to be honest with you. Number one, something they told you in an Italian house and a Cuban house, and they told you you're in church on every Sunday when you went with your family, is if you ask, you will receive.
Yes.
So let's. I understand where you're coming from, because I got the same problem. I can never just ask somebody. I feel a lot better if they contact me, and then they'll, a conversation will come up. Like somebody asked me if I ever did 2 years ago, if I did that thing that they were doing that summer, and I go, no, I never did it. I wanted to, and somebody called and asked, but we never really put it together. Listen.
You're right.
I had a problem my first 10 years of comedy, maybe 15 years of comedy. Nobody knew I did comedy. Because it was introduced to me. Like, when I started going on the road, I swear to God, I remember going on the road as an MC, and the club owner going, Saturday and Friday, you have to go to the mall and give away tickets. And I quit. Right. I'm not going. And guys, I'm outspoken. I like having a good time. I could go up to a woman and go, listen, I got an 8-ball of Coke. Why don't we go back to your house and suck your pussy? Like, I'm one of those creepy motherfuckers.
But not do you want to come to a comedy show.
But I cannot
I know.
come up to
I couldn't
you
bark either.
and go, hi. What are you ladies doing tonight?
Yeah, I know.
Why don't you want to come to a badass comedy show? And they're like, I don't know. That's not, I can't.
I know.
So, because of that, I suffered. Your career suffers if you're not that type of person. But then something came that took the place of my balls. Social media.
Right.
So now,
those
are my balls now. Those are where I got my balls from. It's weird that, and I'm unashamed to say this, I didn't want to quit cocaine because I thought it would take away from my comedy.
That's such a common problem.
It's like people say, I didn't want to lose weight because then I wouldn't get hired for roles. This is all a stupid thing that you have in your mind. When I got off cocaine, my sex life went down the tube. In more ways than one, because that was my courage. Even with my wife. That was my courage. That's how I went out at night. I'll ask that chick if she wants to suck dick. You know what I'm saying? Or whatever. I could ask anybody anything. When I had a couple lines in me or a cocktail, when are you going to put me on that stage? Soon. I remember saying that to Danny Murr one time. at the Tempe Improv. We had just done a line of coke. I snorted coke, and Danny walked in the room. I didn't snort coke with him. And I remember we were talking. I go, what do I have to do to go in your room? I'm the funniest feature up here. And he's like, I'll contact you. Obviously, I still remember that story because it irked me for the rest of my life because that's the shit I could do when I was coked up.
Right.
But I couldn't do it when I was sober. But then I realized once social media came that you have to let people know. So I did it through social media, telling people, like I was never going to go out and hang out a flyer.
Right. No, I know.
I can't pass out a flyer, come to the show.
No,
hey,
I know.
I'm not going to pass flyers out in the cars. You know, I'm not going to do those things.
What you do. You retweet my things. That's like
passing out flyers. So it's that helped me.
Yeah, I didn't even look at it. I didn't even make that comparison as to what that is.
It's balls.
But and to your point, and not against what I said, but our mutual friend Kathy, when I was telling her, like when I was in a run, she's like, "Well, ask them. I'll ask this person for you." I'm like, "No, don't ask anybody anything." And she's like, she goes, "I don't want to." She's very blunt. She's like, "I don't want to say this to insult you, but you're having a very ignorant neighborhood mentality right now." And I was like, "What? What do you mean?" And she was like, "That." Get out of that. Like in this industry, people ask for things. Like you gotta ask, speak up. You know, and the same with you. Like
ask.
You gotta get fed, right? And I'm like, when she said it, I was like, because I think I'm not that, right? I'm not this ignorant neighborhood girl, but that was the mentality that she was kind of saying that I had.
You have to promote yourself, and some people it comes to very easily. You know, Dane Cook was very good at it on Facebook, on MySpace. He was very good at it, but all those things I can never do. So I can never put a tape in at a fucking Super Bowl. But I thought I was in bad shape. And then one night I got home early from the store and Johnny Depp was on Letterman. This has to be maybe 2010, maybe 2009, around there, because I felt better after. And they were talking about the Pirates of the Caribbean. And he goes, so when you did the Pirates, how the dailies looking? And he goes, I don't know. And he goes, what do you mean? You're the star of the show, and you don't know what the dailies look like. And Johnny Depp goes, I don't look at those. I don't like looking at myself on video. And he goes, you're the one of the most handsome men in the world. Johnny Depp. And Johnny Depp went into the same spiel that I tell people. I mean, he just went into it. I do not watch myself. I can't listen to myself. If I'm walking in a room and I hear my voice, I fucking cringe. He was just telling my story, and I'm like, oh my God, okay, I'm not retarded. I'm not, there's not something, mentally off of me. This is Johnny Depp. He looks like that. He looks like that, okay? I look like this, but he looks like that. And he don't want to be seen, or he don't want to see himself. So it all came full circle. I understood it. So you have to work with it. I knew it just wasn't me. You know what I mean? The Longest Yard, the crew screening, I stayed at. The premiere, I did not stay at. When I went to Grudge Match with my buddies, I got up and left. I got up and went outside. They stayed and watched Grudge Match. I'll do it a couple minutes, but once I start popping up in the screen, I got to get out of there. That's uncomfortable for a guy like me.
Does it make you feel like a fake?
Yes, it makes me feel, I don't want to be that guy. Look, I'm up next.
Right.
I'm up.
I mean, like a movie. Does a movie feel like it's fake? Because
you want me to tell you what it feels like? It feels like they made a movie and put my fucking image in there. Because I'm looking at it going, what am I doing in that fucking movie?
That's like imposter syndrome.
Yes, what am I doing in that fucking thing? I'm a fucking felon. I grew up in Jersey. We don't make movies.
You do, but you do.
I do.
Right.
But in my mind,
I know.
It will not
it's imposter syndrome.
let me stand up sets. Come on. Come on.
It's hard because the only way to really learn what you're doing and is to listen and to watch. But in the same part, I'm like, I don't want to see because I don't want to overthink it the next time I get on stage, not to do this or not to do that. But it's like...
I will tell you what I will do,
catch-22.
I will tell you what I will do. I will take a short set of mine, like a YouTube set of mine, and watch it and keep it very low. And I know what I'm saying, but I want to watch my body movements. Because I know if I add a body movement to this joke, it'll push the joke through. That I'll do. But again, did you hear what I said? Short. Set. 6, 7 minutes, 10 minutes. I could tolerate that. If one of my girls come downstairs, that thing gets taken off the computer faster than anything. The only thing I will watch to learn from, because I think it's the only really spectacular job I've ever done, is Ari Shafir's Storyteller Show. The Sister Hyacinth, I really like that one. That was something that I sat there with a pen from the end to the beginning and worked on very hard, and that's why it came out that good. I never worked that hard on my stand-up, but I enjoyed the story concept of doing it because I just like it. But that's the only time I can watch myself.
Wow.
That shit of shooting the special and coming home every night and listening to your sets from the flappers and that shit almost killed me. So by the time I got to the special, I was so beat up from the shitty material, I didn't know where I was coming from. That's why I'm not a special comic.
Right.
I don't like shooting specials. It doesn't work. Everybody has a different knock. My knock is I don't do a good special, and I know it going in. I don't ever want to do it again. I like going up there and just killing with no.
But there are, and I won't mention them, but there are comics I love that I think are great that I watch the special. I'm like, oh, people should just see them live.
That's why I want to record him when he's not aware of it.
That's a great idea. I mean, obviously just for him. No, I know. Because that's the other thing. Like, I know there's going to be a camera on me Saturday, but.
You got to pretend there's not.
Right. But it's a different level.
How long have you been doing comedy for now?
Full time, like 10 years.
Okay.
And then before that, I don't count those 3 or 4 years of getting up and working, writing my first few bits.
So you count that from the time you got $1. Mm-hmm. Okay, that seems fair. So you're ready. 10 years, you're a veteran. 10 years of comedy, you already know what's going on. You really know what's going on.
I feel like I'm fine. I really found
You're a purple
my
belt
voice.
in jiu-jitsu. You know what's going on. You get yourself out of this situation. It's just finding more material, and now you're on the upswing of building a following, momentum, getting a movie or a TV show to complement the credits. It's such a fucking... And again, even like young comics, I couldn't wait to get a credit. When people bring me up and they come to me and they go, what do you want me to say? I go, nothing. You worked so hard for those credits. For anybody who knows, you can't wait to have a credit. Like, can't wait. Like, I can use this as a credit? Yeah. Oh, shit. Oh, shit. And then you have like 3 of them, and you're like, oh, shit. Oh, shit. And then one day you're like, don't say nothing. I just want to...
Being on podcasts is a credit.
Yeah.
I'm using I was just appeared on Uncle Joey's joint for like the next year. No. No. You're right. It is.
There's so many... Comedy is such a great journey for people. And the journey it really starts at the 10-year mark. But guess what? It gets better at the 20-year mark. And people see that. And it's like you telling me if I join the army, I have to stay for 20 years. When you're 18, that seems like a fucking eternity. But it's really not, guys. If you're at home right now listening to this, it's not. We look at time like I still remember... I almost blew my life because my friends could get me union jobs, whether it was longshoreman jobs, brick mason's job. But when they tell me it was a 4-year apprenticeship, I'm like, I'm not doing that. I'll do a 4-week apprenticeship, and I want to get paid like all these motherfuckers on here because you don't see that kind of time in your life. But once you're there and you're like, I've been doing this shit for 10 years. 10 years is the sweet spot in comedy.
And that's like when I was watching the show and I was getting upset watching Last Comic Standing. I go, well, I should have started. I should have done it then and I should have done it now. And then I'm like, you know what, Sarah? 10 years from now, you're going to say, I wish I started then. And I'm going to go, oh my God, why didn't, I said, so just start. It's you just have to start. It sounds so cliche and corny, but it's like, you just have to start.
Well, that's why when people come to me and they go, hey man, listen, there's 2 things everybody hates to hear. Are you going to join jiu-jitsu? No, let me get in shape to come in there. You're never going to get in shape. It's like people trying to tell me I'm not going to join the gym till I get in shape.
Right.
And with stand-up, when people call me, if you paid me $500 and said, Joey, I want you to give me an hour tutoring, I go, how about I give you $475 back and I'll take $25 for the best advice I could give you. Don't even worry about your material the first 2 or 3 times on stage. Don't even worry about it. Go up there and tell me a story about your cat. I'd rather you do that than be up there clunky. I just want you to get over the mechanics of it. I focused a lot on my words And it almost cost me my career because I kept saying, I'm not going to golf until I write.
Right.
Well, you're not going to fucking write.
Right.
You've never written before. What makes you think you're going to become fucking Lenny Bruce now? Get up there. I tell people all the time, just go up there. You're going to, 80% chances are you're going to bomb. And it's not going to really matter. Nobody's ever going to remember it. I don't care if you go up on an open mic at a bar, whatever's easy for you, karaoke, they all count. Get up there.
The only way to get good is to be bad.
Yeah.
I learned, if I had a great night and killed, I learned more from a night when I did it. I never say I killed, so at 10 years, I still don't say I ever killed. But if I had a great night, if I had a bad night, of course, the next morning, I'm like, I'm quitting, this isn't for me. You don't quit. But I learned so much more from those nights.
I would never quit. I would just tell myself that I was a piece of shit, that what made me think I could ever do this. And then you go, okay, I'll give this another month. And if you don't fucking make it work, I'm done with you, comedy. And then something good happens.
That's what happened. I would get into a place where I'd be like, how am I doing this with my life? I'm giving everything up for this, to pursue this dream. And then you have a bad night. You'd be like, I'm not a comic. This isn't for me. And then boom, you get something, or you get it, and you're like, it's like it takes one good night to erase 30 bad. And then you're right back. You're right back into the like, oh, I can do this.
Now think about it. People are at home right now watching this. That conversation you just said, you think you're crazy. If you said that to me 30 years ago, I'm like, you're fucking crazy. I got to have 30 bad nights to have one good night? You're fucking crazy. But explain to them how good that night is.
That one good one night, it's like I found who I am. Like I know what I'm meant to do. And it's like an actualization. Like you can't really explain it. It's just like, this is who I am. Like, and you find yourself in that night. And you go, this is it. I'm going to do whatever I got to do to feel this again. And then, of course, it's a different level of chase when you get to a certain level. When you one great night, great. But I should have been, you start going, oh, where you want to be, like where I wanted to be 10 years ago. Now I'm not as grateful as maybe I should be, right? Because now I'm looking at the next 10 years. So you kind of really humble yourself in these times. And I got to say, this is where I wanted to be. This is exactly what I wanted to do. Be happy with where you are now. But it's hard when you get into this. But those good nights, man, it's the best feeling in the world. That's why I'm here.
I want to write another book about like that experience. Like I didn't really dive into it in my book, like that experience from 1991 to 2000. If I look at my life, those were the best 9 years of my life. And I slept in cars. I had to borrow money to do showcases. The one club gave me 6 weeks of work, and then a month later they shut all the clubs down after I drove 14 hours each way. You don't want to tell this to people but it's all part of this fucking thing that's so close to your heart when you really, really look at it. Traveling the States and meeting different people, like being stuck in a town and somebody helps you and you're like, the world is a fucking vampire. You know what I'm saying? Like the world is a great place that people will come to your help even when, and dog, nobody knew who I was. When I was getting $50 in the triple runs, a show, nobody even acknowledges you, okay? You're the guy under the headliner. And I still wouldn't trade it in for anything else. I still remember sleeping in hotels where it was owned by Hindu people, and you could smell the curry coming into the vents all night and shit like that. And the whole hotel smelled, I can't, but it's all part of the fucking, the experience. Like when you look at getting to Rock Springs, Wyoming, and the hotel saying we only got one room, you got to spend the night with the headliner in the same room, and he's snoring and he hates LA, and he's one of those fucking negative headliners. These are all that's all part of who you are. Like this is what's on my sleeve now.
And you need that thick skin in this industry, and that makes you stronger, that makes you tougher. Like you...
Listen, that thick skin is going to go with you forever. You need to rip the scab off your soul and build it back because it's going to come in handy in 15 years. It's going to come in handy in 20 years. And that's what a lot of people, everybody's in such a rush. They miss those early steps. and then you're gonna have to go back. So do them now. That's why my motto has always been: you could pay me now, or you could pay me later. I didn't invent it. Pennzoil did in the fucking 80s. If you don't change your oil in your car.
And this is a word from our sponsor.
And this is a word from our sponsor.
Pennzoil.
But it's the truth. And I know for a fact it goes with comedy. Because let me tell you what's happening with comedy today.
I know what he's going to say.
Fucking, and you know this. What's happening with comedy today, and I have nothing against these people, is that a guy makes a video on YouTube.
Social media.
Then he makes another video on YouTube. Then he makes another video on YouTube. He gets like 10 million downloads. Now somebody just says to him, you should just do stand-up. Well, I don't know how it happens. You know, it could happen that way, or they are doing stand-up online, cracking little jokes, and then they start going into clubs. And they go into clubs with a following.
Yeah.
Which I didn't have a following. I'll never forget, David Tell came up to me in Miami one night, and he goes, Dog, I like what you're doing as a feature act, because you are building a following. Because when you do hit later on, these people are going to feel responsible. They saw you, and they're going to come out and see you even more. And it's the truth.
It is.
Whenever I go to Miami or those places, Houston, people come up to me and go, I remember seeing you open for Rogan in 98 when you took your dick out and you chased the fucking penguin across the, you know. And it's,
How could they forget?
How can they forget?
No, but it's true.
All that builds, and people don't know that. So this YouTube sensation that you got, he's got 30 million. He sells out the Improv.
Yeah.
And this is all great, but he's performing in front of his crowd. He's performing in front of his own people. He never won one over.
Right.
This is what's happened with YouTube.
Right.
You never won a crowd over. They come in to see you and you attack. Now, one day, Bob Kelly's going to come up to you and go, hey, why don't we go do a set at Gotham? Why don't we go do a set at the Comedy Cellar? And you're going to go up in front of the audience that isn't you. And it's going to shock you to no fucking
You
end.
could not say it. You could have not made a better comparison to what that is. I know.
It's not good.
I see it now when, like, you know, and listen, I'll be a feature act if it's a big enough name, or somebody's selling out. You know, say, oh, this, you know, this kid sold out, you know, the club or whatever, and I got to do 35 or 40 minutes as an opener. You don't got an act. You just filled seats, and
It's crazy when you see that.
and then they go, oh, you know, you were great. I couldn't follow, or yeah, well, you have to do, you know, before you put your name, because you want people to come back to see you, and it's an easy mistake. Listen, you get popularity like that, you think like anything else, oh, I can do it. But you're not going to be respected in it either.
No. You're not going to get respected because you deserve no respect.
Right.
But then you go up in front of your these audiences, and they're blowing smoke up your ass, and that's not
Right.
not healthy.
I know.
That's not healthy. Not to mention you overskipped the MC, the process of the MC, and you overskipped the process
Where
of the
you grow
feature.
the most, yeah.
They're there for a reason. Those two positions are there for a reason. You have to go through the ranks for a reason. Okay, you went to the Army, you went to college, you got your officer. Now you're coming as an officer. That means you come in as a fucking MC.
Right.
That's what that means. You don't come in as a fucking,
Headliner.
you know, somebody else, you come in as a, watch this and listen. With fucking a guy who, like, I took a comedy class. It was a 3-week class. It didn't really cover.
Right.
He told me to get Judy Carter's book, and then Judy Carter took it from there.
yeah,
It's whatever. So, but I did those ranks. I bombed. I still remember going to a room that started at 11, and the guy coming up to me, 15 minutes going, 15 more minutes, 15 more minutes, and it's 1:15. And there's 8 people left. And you invited 6 of your friends to come see you, and they drove you, and they took you to dinner. You know, these things, you know, I'll never forget doing the Latin Comedy Festival for the Toyota Comedy Festival, the Latin thing at Caroline's, and that comic threw me to the wolves. He fucking made me follow a salsa band because he didn't like me at the end. He put the salsa band up.
Right, now everybody's dancing, they're moving,
Can you
they
fucking
think
believe
the
that?
show is done.
I had to follow
right.
a fucking salsa band. And that stays with you for a long time. You're like, how could I, like when I got off the stage that night, I'm like, how could I have handled that better? And I went home and took my notebook in the middle of all that, I go, no, you can't handle that. That's not what should have happened. You go up before the fucking band. They did like 3 songs at Caroline's.
Oh, no, that's, yeah.
And the guy kept saying to me, but you're really strong. Go up after them. And I'm like, I'm not fucking strong. What the fuck are you talking about?
It doesn't make a difference how strong you are. You've just changed the whole vibe of the room, the whole energy.
So you excited for Saturday night?
I am excited for Saturday. I am. I think
How long have you been working this material for?
I put some new stuff in there, which almost you would never do. But if I don't like
No,
it, I
you
can
have
take
to.
it out.
You
Yeah.
have to.
So it's some of my. I even took some of my first jokes that I don't even do anymore because I want to have everything out there and then see what is I really want, like what I want on this album, because this is my first real intro.
And then you do know that your life is going to be hell next Monday once you're out of material.
Oh, I know.
Oh.
It's like a double-edged sword. Like, part of me is like, oh my God, that's it now. Like, now you have to start back to the drawing board. But there's also part of me that's like, I don't want to do those jokes anymore. So it's like, I feel it like.
I'm really proud of you that you're
Thank
doing
you.
this. And it's so crazy to say that to some. Again, another thing that's crazy. You can't wait to put together your jokes. And you can't wait to go tell them. And what a great feeling it is to fucking write a new act and you're enjoying it and jokes are flying out of you. But then, all of a sudden, you shoot this fucking special.
And now what?
And now you're out of jokes.
What's that going to be like? Tell me.
Okay, so now you're going to, what we discussed, you're going to have your leftover jokes that you didn't, that they didn't take in the special, and you have that left over. So you could take what you have and take that material from a different direction. I would just start from scratch. And it's brutal. It's brutal. It's what I've been going through the last 6 months here, trying to do material and, not being able to grow with it. Like the last 6 months, I've had a hard time fucking writing here. So now I'm okay. I wrote some great stuff for this week. But when you shoot a special, you have to go up there for like 2 weeks and find the hook. Then once you find the hook, you're like, thank God, I got 3 minutes. Then you have 7 minutes. And then you go, oh shit, I wrote a joke close to this a year ago. Let me go back in that notebook and get that joke out that I couldn't fix it with anything else. And that's how you start putting things together. And then you're up to 20 minutes and you're fine. Because now at least you can do sets.
Right.
You got 20 minutes. So
Right.
now it's when you don't have any material.
I know.
And you got to go up there and start from scratch. And that's in fact, I'm telling you, that's what I had to do. And since I was out of the comedy, listen, when you do comedy every night, 10 years, 15 years, and I've said it on here before, you become, your mind is sharp. Like if you see something, you process it right away. It's very funny. The pandemic and what I was going through took me away from that state of mind.
We weren't really seeing it, right?
Which the state of mind is, which when we're driving, and I can just come up with a joke when I see somebody.
Right.
Now I'm starting to get it back. I still have the ability. I have, after last week's show, I could tell the joke writing is starting to come back. It's taken a lot longer than I wanted it to, but
we weren't living during the pandemic. I feel like in order, and I realize this now when I don't want to take a break or I feel like I got to get up every night. I'm like, I got to live life in order to joke about it. And I feel like we're kind of getting back to our groove. And that's why it's coming back now. And that's why. Yeah,
but there were some people who went right back on the horse. Like I thought comedy clubs are going to be packed. All these comics are going to go back and do their regime, go back to a club, start from scratch, pack up material and get to theaters and stuff. No, it was a week later and most comics went right back to where they were, right back to a theater. For me, but I look at things a lot differently. I don't like going up there just to crack jokes. I want them to get something. I want them to get an hour from me, and that's not always possible. I'm not going to have that ability at all times because, like even now, I feel like I'm doing okay, but I'm not Joey Diaz.
I just saw you,
and
I just saw you perform.
Oh, but Uncle Vinny's 2 weeks ago. I feel comfortable now, but I'm not where I was before the pandemic. It's taken a long time, and correct, I haven't been working out like I would in LA. Like I knew different rooms, everything was a lot closer to me. But I'm feeling it again, and it's been fucking fun.
It's good to hear you say that.
No,
I think you scared some people when you were like, "Yeah, I'm not going to do it anymore." Everybody was like, "Ah."
I don't want to do it to the extent I was doing it.
But
I don't want to do like somebody offered me a tour next year, and I thought about it. I didn't say no yet. I haven't said anything. I just was like, I don't know.
Because Because why though? Because it's taxing when you think about it, like or because you're at a point now where you can allow balance in your life. Like I feel like when you first start,
No,
you're not going to get. There's no balance. There's like a
There was no
tunnel vision.
balance.
There's no such thing as balance
No,
when you
there
first
was no
start.
balance at all.
But
Nothing.
But now you've got a beautiful home. You're giving your daughter a completely different childhood than she would have had back in LA. You have different friends. There are different things you're interested in. You're going out to dinner tonight with friends instead of going to a club. Or do you think that's why? Because you're trying to find that happy medium? Like, why would you say no to a tour? Not that you have said
It's
no
my
yet.
fucking weekends, man.
That's
it's my fucking weekends. I've given up my weekends for 30 years.
30 years, yeah.
Okay, so now I have something to do on the weekends.
But you don't even have to perform on a weekend.
No. I could still perform on
could do a
Tuesdays
tour on
and
a Tuesday,
Wednesdays or Thursdays. But the whole thing seems taxing to me. I'm at a point right now in my life where I want to be home a little more. The world's not in a fucking great place right now. I enjoy doing my shows in the city. When I go to the city with you, that's a good time. And that's what I can handle right now. What's going to happen next July, next August? I don't know. But for right now, I'm just getting my bearings back. I didn't want to get into this from day one. I didn't want to go nowhere I was before with the podcast or with the stand-up career. I wanted to cut it down a little bit. I didn't want it to be 20 hours a day. This was 20 hours a day in my life for the last 30 fucking years. Not for the last 12 years. It's been 20 hours a fucking day. And it's not performing or doing things. It's the mental. It's the thinking and the jokes and you're not a feature anymore. People are actually paying $40 to come see you, a babysitter, a dinner. You can't go up there just treat them like that. So,
and that's why you're so good, because you're not thinking of you when you're on that stage.
No.
The best comics are thinking about the audience.
I'm thinking about the audience, man. I don't like what's going on today. I don't like that audiences are paying $200 to see a comic or $2.99. That's absurd. These comics can make a living on $30 tickets just like I fucking did for years. So I always think about the audience. I want them. Jesus Christ, when a comic tells me they haven't written a joke in a year, I'm done with you. I'm done with you. I'm done with you. I told my wife, how can nothing happen in a year?
Right.
Nothing.
Right.
That's what you're telling me, that nothing happened in your life in a fucking year. Tell me about the car that sped by your house that almost hit your fucking kid. Tell me something. Something has had to happen. So when you think like that, you always got to be on top of it. When you're writing and stuff, I don't have that no more. I have a child now. I have a wife now. I could be writing and my child will come up to me and go, Dad, you want to go play basketball? I can't just go, no. I'm writing a joke. I can't do that no more. Can't do that no more. So like I said, I'm doing the best and the most that I can do right now.
And that's it.
And that's it. Do I think about getting on a plane on a Friday night, on a Thursday, and doing that second show?
No.
That ship sailed.
No.
I considered even doing a Friday night tour, a Saturday night tour, like just Saturday nights. But
So no
what I
back-to-back.
want, how I want to do it, is not how most people want to do it. It would cost a lot more, because I'm not doing fucking commercial flights anymore.
Oh.
I'm not doing them
Of
for a
course.
tour. I'm not doing them. So if somebody wants to do a tour, I'll even take less money and figure
travel,
out a
right.
way just to fucking get out of there after my show. Get off stage at 11, you're on a plane at fucking 11:15. Like Rogan did at Atlantic City, what Segura does every night. They get out of that town. They get to the next town the next day. That's what I would like to do. But I first of all, I never liked doing Tuesday through Saturday. This whole last run I did was never. It was always Thursday, Friday, Saturday. That's it. No Sundays. Wednesday, I don't have time for you. I don't mind doing the city on a Wednesday.
Right.
I go to the Stand tonight with you
Right.
or Dangerfields, but that's where I am right now. That's where I am. I still love comedy like I did when I first got on that stage. I still love it. It's just I had to love it in a different way now. I have more people to love. When I got into and I knew this in L.A., I don't know how many nights I would be at dinner and she just said prayers. And I got to get dressed, go to the store and talk about eating ass and shooting somebody. And, it's like, and then you start thinking about the mafia. How you joined the mafia when you're 18. or 23 or 24, because you're shooting people. You don't give a fuck about shooting people. But then you bump into a beautiful girl at the deli, and you have beautiful children with her. And now I got to go shoot somebody and go take my daughter to church tomorrow. Take her to the daddy-daughter dance. It was surreal to me. That's what I would feel like. I'd be there watching the same prayers, and with the same, in my mind, I'm like, oh, I'm going to go down to the comedy store. I'm going to smoke some dope. And I'm like, I can't do this no more. It just wasn't working. So I have a lot more people that need my attention now. I'm not guys, comedy is never growing up. Stand-up gives you the permission to never grow up. And I love that about stand-up, because I never wanted to grow up. If you become a comedian, it's because you don't want to grow up. I became a comedian because I liked it, like you liked watching it. But when I read Lenny Bruce's book, I liked the fact that when I read that book, I was lost. I was a criminal. I was a drug addict. He hung out at a strip club, and then he went to the Chelsea Hotel, and he went to sleep, and he shot heroin with jazz musicians. That's what I wanted. I didn't want to shoot heroin, but I wanted to snort coke and drink all night, and party, especially in New York. What a dream it would be to leave your house. Like, if I was a comic that slept all day, get up at 7, eat some Chinese food, smoke some pot, make some calls, and then leave at 10 o'clock at night and just attack New York? Come on, dog. That's a dream come true. Stop at 2, go get a slice of pizza, go with Tara, get a late steak somewhere in the village, and then you go home at 5 in the morning, and there's another party going on at the Chelsea Hotel. Coke, bitches, strippers. Who wouldn't dream of that? That's a fucking paradise. That's why I got into comedy, because it gave me permission
to be yourself,
not to grow up. When you get into comedy, how many bills you got?
Yeah, no, I know.
Like I told Lisa, you ever see somebody come up in an open mic with a Lamborghini?
Right.
Nobody ever pulls up in a Lamborghini at an open mic, right? Everywhere else, you could be at a coffee shop, beep, beep. Nobody ever pulls up in a Lamborghini. So I didn't have anything when I got into comedy, and now I have people. Like I always thought I was going to die like Charles Bronson, like alone in my house, in a basement apartment with a cat, drinking from a bowl, like in hard times.
There is a cat, but that's it. That's the only.
But then all these things came that take your time, your health. When you're a comic, you don't really think about health. Not till I met Joe Rogan. You're on the road. I remember the first time Rogan goes, "You want to work out?" I'm on the road, bitch. What workout? Your body, your health, all these things come in. And the honest to God truth, I don't want to go out like Bob Saget.
No.
I don't want to die in a hotel room, guys.
No.
Not now. 20 years ago, I wanted to die in a hotel room with a naked woman sitting on my face. But now, I want to die right here.
And you found your balance. And this is the gift.
And I still love stand-up.
After 30 years, right.
Yeah, I still love stand-up. I have to find a different way to do it. And if it means going to Uncle Vinny's on Thursdays for a year and doing the New York, the Sony Theater, Sony Hall once a month, so be it. Once I get more room. Listen, Chappelle took off 8 years.
Oh, yeah.
And he waited to his kids. In 2 years, my daughter's not going to want to do nothing with me. Already, I told her I'm going to have to go to Cincinnati for this movie. And she's like, "That's okay, Dad. I'll just come and visit you." That was not her stance.
Right. That was not the response he wanted either. Yeah.
That was not her stance 2 months ago.
Right.
So I know in 2 years, she's going to go, "Dad, you can do whatever you want now." And I'll take more advantage of that. Who knows what the future brings. But today, this is the best I could do. Because
you found how to be in the present. And that's something you as a new comic, you're never going to get that.
No. And as a 32-year-old loser, I was never going to get that. As a 44-year-old loser, I wasn't going to get that. I needed something to happen to make me overhaul everything. And it was that little girl. I mean, I love being here. I love the softball games. Last night I was the only dad at softball practice. I sat by myself. The moms were yakking. That's what moms do. I sat by myself. I love all this shit.
Isn't it a beautiful place to be when you can be calm like that? And did you ever think years ago you could just be sitting at a softball? Like even now, like I drive by one, my husband would be like, "You ready for that? And you want kids? You ready?" And I'd be like, "You and your mother better be ready, because I ain't doing that. I'm gonna be in comedy clubs every night. I'm not doing that, so I'm not ready for that at my age." I long, like, for what you're saying, believe it or not, I long for that level, even if it's not with a kid, with a level of peace that I don't think I have yet, because I'm still climbing, and I'm still digging and finding
You
myself.
don't want peace.
I don't.
You think I was looking for peace when I was 45?
But there is a part of me that says, like, I'm listening to you say that, and I'm like, that's got to be so peaceful. I don't have that level of peace. I have to take things to have that level of peace.
Listen, man, I had to, but I also had to make sacrifices.
Right.
Like, it was very rough to lose the comedy salary.
Oh.
It was very rough. But I looked at my wife and I go, we'll make it work. I'll put more albums on Sirius. You know, there's always shit you could do, you know? But you have to close one door before another one opens. And people don't understand that when they want their life to change, your life's not going to change no matter how much you want it. You have to make sacrifices, and then life will make the universe will make sacrifices, and you'll meet in the middle. For me to attain this peace and to be able to go to sleep at 11 again, and I look at my Whoop watch and I sleep till fucking 8, and I'm getting REM sleep again.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah, I know.
for me to attain that, I couldn't attain it by going on the road every night. So I had to give something up. And I gave up the thing that most people can't give up, is money. I stepped away from the money. If the money's in the universe, it'll come to you. Whether you do this, I might hit the lotto tomorrow. You don't know. I might hit 60 million. Go, I told you I had money coming to me, cocksucker.
Right.
But I tell you. So we always have money coming to us when you're a good person and you do good things. The universe will smile down on you. But I had to cut away a lot of stuff that made me joy. I narrowed down my standard to what was going on. Let's be honest, since we're being honest today. And I want you young comics to learn something. I wasn't addicted to comedy anymore. There was nothing about comedy I liked. Towards the end, there was nothing about comedy that made me want. I didn't want to go, oh, I can't wait to try that new joke in front of Tara. She's going to love it. Can't wait to try that new joke in front of Mike. I would get on a plane with the sole exceptions. Can't wait for Saturday night to put that check in my hand for the theaters. I got addicted to the check. And I became a different person when the check was put in my hand. Once the check was put in my hand, the weekend ended. I don't want to take no more pictures. I don't want to talk about comedy no more. I mean, I was dead serious about it. People never understood that because that's not who it just wasn't working. I was doing everything off that check. The only thing I did that was pure was go do my $15 set at the Comedy Store. That's what kept me pure. But everything else was too out there for me. I wanted to get that love back. And until I get that desire back, like I told you that at 7 o'clock, I'm telling my wife, where the fuck is dinner? I got to get the fuck out of here to go to the Stress Factory or Dino's or Gotham. When that happens, I'll call you and let you know. But that's not what the case has been. I miss doing comedy. I miss it. I miss the Comedy Store. I miss the Comedy Store. But I have to just see where I'm at, and I'll come back to it, or you move from here. I already proved my point. I proved my point. To me, I couldn't keep going back on the road. I was starting to see that already with my friends. I learned that from Ralphie. How many times are you going to go to Columbus, Ohio? How many times are you going to go to Houston, Texas? And we try to hide it with different venues. Oh, this one time we'll do the Improv.
It'll be different, different experience.
And then they get you another theater. Then they get you a bigger theater. Then they get you a bigger theater. Now you're in a fucking arena, which is not good. I don't want to do comedy in a fucking arena. It's more personalized for me. So I didn't want to even to get that way. Like when I was seeing these guys going into an arena, I go, that would be nice. That's a payday. But at the same time, you sacrifice. You sacrifice the real art of comedy. People are watching you on a fucking screen.
And you're missing so much.
So I don't want people to miss that. The same way I enjoy the live experience, I want to give people that live experience.
It's intimate, yeah.
The intimate, 500 seats. I could probably put it, anybody knows, I could probably sell out another 1,000 tickets every night.
Yeah.
I don't want to do that. In fact, I wish Sony Hall was 350. I wish it was 250 sometimes because I would have more control. I could start from there again. I don't want to go up in front of a 2,000-seat arena. I don't know. I started at Uncle Dino's for a reason, Uncle Vinny's. I'm dealing with 140 people. And if it's a bad night, we'll have 80. We never had a bad night, so we could work with that. So that's where I'm at.
And listen.
That's where I'm at.
You're
you have to make
with
sacrifices, and you have to. Your life is not going to change. You have to make the initial things. And yeah, after I said no. I ate dick for 3 or 4 months. Like money wasn't coming in. But at the same time, then movies started coming in and other things started coming in. Why? Because you got to close one door before another one opens. And now when I'm ready, I'll go back to stand-up when I'm ready to go. And I could be the most effective thing in the world. But right now, I can't. I don't have it.
But you have it to do other things. The rewards are endless in other ways, whether it's the softball game for you or doing an audition or getting a new part. There's other, it's from one thing came another.
Let me tell you something. I've had more auditions in the last 6 weeks than I've had the last 10 years for years. Do you see what I'm saying? So in the years, like when I was in LA, I would get 3 or 4 auditions in a year, or somebody would make an offer. Here, at least I'm getting, like in the last six weeks, I've probably gotten 7 auditions because the agency realized they're not going to get blood out of a turnip. See, there's a value in my head. They're going to get that value from me. But if I shoot them down with the road, that's why else I did this.
Right.
To pick their fucking up. I'm not going on your road. So you can take that week and shove up your ass. Get me some auditions. And that's what they did. I forced their hand. So there's always a method to the madness. It's like the great Nietzsche said. Didn't Nietzsche say this? A man without a plan is not a man.
I like it.
I'm really proud of you for what you're doing.
Thank you, Joey, for having
I'm
me.
going to try to come down.
Thank you.
Both shows start at 9:30?
Fridays 9 and Saturdays 9.
Both of them are 9.
Yeah.
Okay. So Uncle Vinny's fucking Friday and Saturday. I wish you all luck in the world.
You.
You're fucking a sweet lady.
Thank you.
You're funny as fuck.
Thank
and I
you.
can see you taking over this motherfucker.
Let's fucking do it.
5 or 6 years. Keep doing what you're doing.
Thank you.
I love you motherfuckers. Don't forget Tara. Where can they find you?
Tara Jokes everywhere because nobody can say my last name.
Tara Jokes.
Tara Jokes is my website. Tara Jokes Instagram, TikTok, Twitter.
I love you motherfuckers. Stay black. Have a great week, and we'll see you next Monday. Tip top magoo. All right, you bad motherfuckers. I want to thank you guys for listening to the show today. I want to apologize for coming up this Thursday. I had a fucking podcast on Tuesday. Audition on Tuesday. I didn't even tell you about today, but we'll talk about that next week. And that's it. But listen, the joint is brought to you by DraftKings. Tonight there's a great game, Chicago, Washington. DraftKings is going to be there, the official sports betting partner of the NFL. Tonight you put $5 on the NFL team to win, and if it comes in, you get 200 in free bets and you build up your bankroll. Everyone can boost their winnings with DraftKings stepped-up same-game parlays. Tonight, I like Chicago. What the fuck? Washington's been struggling. Now, to make things sweeter tonight, you could go for a total and a fucking side with a stepped-up same-game parlay. And you can play them once a day, all season long. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app now. Use promo code Joey to get 200 in free bets if your team wins when you place a $5 bet on any football team. That's code Joey, only at DraftKings Sportsbook, the official sports betting partner of the NFL. Minimum age and eligibility restrictions apply. See show notes for details. Now go win some money. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app or the Fantasy app and go knock them out of the park. The joint is also brought to you by Bluechew. Listen, one of the scariest things for a young man is not being able to perform. It'll destroy your fucking confidence, but don't worry about nothing. Uncle Joey got you with Bluechew. Bluechew is an online service that delivers the same active ingredient as Viagra and Cialis, but in chewable tablets, all at a fraction of a cost. You can take them anytime and be ready for whatever opportunity arises. You understand? They come in a single little pouch. You put it in your wallet. Ooh, it's all over. Let me tell you how easy it is to get. The process is simple. You sign up at BlueChew.com. You consult one of the licensed medical providers. And once you're approved, you'll receive your prescription within days. The best part, it's all done online. No visits to the doctor's office, no browbeating from the doctor, and Bluechew tablets are made in the USA, shipped in a discreet package. So if you could benefit from extra confidence when it's time to get down, Bluechew is going to help you. Try Bluechew for free. It's free this week. Use promo code Joey, Joey, and just pay $5 for shipping. If you don't do this, there's something wrong with you, because we could all need a little boost to the helmet. BlueChew.com with code Joey for your first month. But first, visit BlueChew.com for more important safety information. And again, I want to thank Bluechew for sponsoring the joint. I want to thank DraftKings. I want to thank BetterHelp. I love all you savages. I want to thank Tara, Mike, and the rest of the fucking crew. Stay black. Have a great weekend, and we'll be back Monday morning. Tip top motherfucking Magoo. I love you.